What's up, everybody? Welcome to TDI Live, episode 14. We've got something different in store for you today. But before we get going, I'm Matt.
And I'm Bill.
And I'm Heather.
And this is Tye-Dyed Iguana's podcast, TDI Live. So what's going on today? We are going to do what I want to call the Stream of Consciousness podcast. No agenda, no topics. We're going to just talk and see where we end up. Those of you that have been listening, you know that we tend to go down rabbit holes. So this is going to be a holio podcast rabbit hole. Does that sound good? But I will give you an update on what's going on in TDI before we start diving into the many orifici that will appear on today's holy-ass podcast. I'm just trying to see how many times I can say whole. Anyway, so what's new in the world of Tye-Dyed Iguana? That's a fantastic question. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you what happened yesterday. Really, right now, we're prepping for the next Show Me Snakes show in Davenport, Iowa. That's going to be something new. We've never been there before. In fact, I've never been to Iowa. Have you been to Iowa, Bill?
Yeah.
You been to jail in Iowa?
Yeah, I think I did a couple years in the county there.
I figured you probably got arrested in Iowa.
No.
But have you really been to Iowa?
Yeah, I was younger.
Yeah? What's in Iowa?
Pretty much the same thing. It's in Illinois.
Illinois?
And Ohio.
Yeah.
Ohio.
But that's really all that's going on. We do have a lot of new product that's come in. Finally, all of the plant stuff or garden product that we ordered back in September, I think it was, in Ohio, as Bill calls it. That's been rolling in. So we had some late nights last week just trying to get all that out. But all of that inventory is finally falling into place. So enough about that. Let's see kind of where this goes. And I think kind of a fun way to start this is actually a reptile news story about a lady being found dead in her home with like 100 and something snakes. So Heather, I think you can elaborate more on that. What happened?
Well, apparently they found this lady. She had died from strangulation by one of her reticulated pythons, 8-foot-long reticulated python. What it was is they had this house, and this house had all these snakes in it, like 120 or 140, and 20 of them were hers. And well, apparently she went there alone, I guess, and they found her later on, and they ruled that she had been strangled by one of her snakes. So
see, this doesn't really make sense to me. So there's 120 snakes in this house. I mean,
I think
imagine,
it said 140.
But they're in cages, right? It's not like it's not like Indiana Jones.
Well,
We're hoping they were in cages.
I mean, who the hell would keep just like open the door and there's snakes everywhere?
Dude, I tell you what, I seen a thing where a guy had a bunch of monitors living in his house, and one of them, pretty much like dogs and cats, and one of them bit him. He ended up getting an infection, and he was kind of, he didn't go out very much and everything. Well, apparently he ended up dying, and the monitors ended up eating on him.
Nice.
And finally they went in there because I guess he hadn't been to work in about a month.
And someone's finally like, where's George? George? Has anyone seen George?
Yeah, and they found his rotting body and all the lizards and stuff.
Ugh.
So one could say that this gal was strangled by her snake. Another way to say it is that she was murdered and the snakes were let loose.
Well, I think it said that she was going through a divorce.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
We have no idea what happened.
But, I mean, I would think the coroner would be able to tell if she was strangulated by a python or by a person. So
They said they ruled it as being strangled by the pythons.
Maybe the person took the python and like looped it around her neck like a rope and just pulled the python tight and strangled her with it.
No, python wouldn't let you do that.
No?
No.
I mean, you don't think you could pull that off, like if you're strong enough? I mean, that would be a pretty legit way to kill somebody.
That would hurt the python.
Yeah, but I mean, you're committing murder. I don't think you're really worried about hurting somebody. So.
Well, there was a story like years and years ago. We're talking late 70s, early 80s, where a guy in St. Louis, he had a bunch of large snakes, and he was a drunk. So one of his big snakes apparently got out one time and killed him. But the rumor was that his wife while he drank a bunch and passed out, she rubbed, a dead rabbit all over him and let the snake out because they found bite marks on his head, like the snake was trying to swallow him. But that was just like a, kind of one of those urban myth, what happened
Urban
kind
legend.
of things.
Yeah.
And it happened in St. Louis. I can't remember the guy's name.
Was it downtown St. Louis? Because that would further make it an urban legend.
No, I don't know.
Anyone?
Yeah, I hear you, Matt.
As opposed to a rural legend.
A rural legend.
Yeah.
Or if it was on the outskirts, it would be like an urban expansion legend.
Suburban legend.
Suburban and O'Fallon legend.
I'm sure some of the guys that, were in the Herp Society and everything back around that time probably
all three
knew
of them.
who it was. And,
yeah.
Or might have heard about it. But
have you seen Gangs of New York? You
No.
said Dead Rabbits and made me think of Gangs of New York. You've never seen it? For
No.
real?
Nope.
Oh, man. It, well, I won't even get into it. You should check it out, though. It's a pretty cool movie. It takes place back during the Civil War in New York, where I think the 5 points is what they called it, and it was like the ghetto of New York, where all these streets came together. It's actually a real location in New York.
Is that where they had the different ethnicities,
Yes.
like
There's
Italians
yep.
and
the Italians,
Irish?
the Irish. There was all these gangs,
Yeah.
and it was brutal. And they would just have like these gang wars out.
Well, that would be based on a true story then.
Yeah, it is based on a true story.
Yeah.
And Daniel Day-Lewis plays one of the main characters and did a phenomenal job at it. And but one of the gangs was called the Dead Rabbits, and it was a Catholic Irish gang.
Yeah.
And at the very beginning, they go out to battle or whatever. And Daniel Day-Lewis, I forget the name of his gang, but they were the supposed natural-born U.S. citizens. Now, keep in mind, this is Civil War. Like, how natural-born are you really at that time? Like, first generation, maybe? Second generation?
Yeah.
But they fight to the death, and frickin' Daniel Day-Lewis kills the preacher, who's the head of the Dead Rabbits, and stabs him right in front of his kid. Oh, it was super messed up.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. But really good movie. You should check it out. So, Bill, I've got a question for you. I was reading an article just recently about the Big Bang, and it made me think of you. Before I get into what the article said, I am dying to know what your thought process is on the Big Bang.
Oh,
We're going to touch religion, guys. I said I'd never touch
I
religion,
don't
but it's
believe it.
happening.
I do not believe the Big Bang. I don't believe in evolution at all. I don't believe that such a complex living things and how things are so perfectly entwined to work that just happened by accident. Sorry, I don't believe it.
Yeah. Okay, so
I am definitely a creationist. I believe in creation 100%. And the thing is, people have been so blasted with evolution and that, secular science type of thing. There is actually more proof of creation than there is evolution.
Well, I'm not going to go down that route.
Well, no, I
Yeah.
mean, you don't. I mean, people won't do it because they won't take the time to look into anything, into any of the creation things. But
could you entertain the idea that the Big Bang happened at the hand of God?
No.
No. God's not that creative.
No.
Sorry, I'm jabbing at you a little.
No, that's
okay.
fine.
So let's just pretend. All right, I like to play
God.
pretend. Okay, well, if you can't pretend, that's fine. But I was going to say, let's just assume for a moment that you did believe in the Big Bang. So apparently there's a new theory out where they're saying that, I guess originally the thought process is that the universe is flat, in essence. Like when the Big Bang happened, everything expanded out in a very flat type shape. But now there's new evidence where they've observed the microwave background radiation and whatnot, and they're saying now that they think the universe is spherical rather than flat. And so I guess we can ignore the Big Bang altogether. But what are your thoughts on a spherical universe versus a flat universe, much like a flat Earth? Like, have you ever thought about the shape of the
I would
universe?
say that if something was to explode,
See, you're looking at this from an unbiased view. This is why
it's going to explode in a circular.
I would agree.
Because, like, if I don't see it unless
How could something explode out in a
just
flat
plane.
plane?
I don't see that. I would say if something, because I've seen
I think
enough.
it's more of a cube rather than a flat plane because obviously space is three-dimensional, so it's got to be more like, maybe if it's not a cube.
Yeah, I've
but
seen stuff explode. I've made stuff explode, and
I've
it
blown up
always
a thing or
goes
two.
out in a circular. So
I'll be totally honest. I never knew that there was a theory that the universe was flat, and to me, it almost seems silly. Now, granted, I am no astrophysicist.
flat
but-
Earth.
But it's like, yeah, I would agree. It would have to be spherical, and then if the universe were spherical, it would explain, like wormholes and quote unquote time travel. Not really time travel, but traveling great distances in short periods of time a lot better. Do you believe that wormholes are a thing?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not for sure.
Heather, you can chime in on this at any time.
I
Heather's like, this is above my pay grade.
I guess
Mine
I
too.
believe that there's a higher power behind the Big Bang, I guess I should say.
Really? Yeah, I don't really know where I am on the whole creationism Big Bang thing, but I like the idea of the universe being a sphere because I personally believe in like parallel universes, multiple universes. I don't know where you guys are on that. But if it was spherical, it would make a little bit more sense. Kind of like the end of Men in Black. Do you remember that, where he's like shooting marbles and it's all... You guys are killing me. You've never seen Men in Black?
I've seen Men in Black, but...
Yeah, the very, very
end. At the end, each little universe is a marble.
Yeah.
Played by
shooting
big
marbles.
aliens.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so...
How many Men in Black are there? Is there 2 or 3? Because I've only seen 2.
How many movies or how many characters?
There's 4, actually.
I was like, there's actually 2 Men in Black in the first one?
Yeah, there's the first 3, and then there's this 4th one that came out.
The 4th one, isn't it like his kid or something?
No, the third one was something like that, and then the 4th one just came out this year, I think, but it bombed at the box office.
Yeah, most movies bomb when you get to like part 4.
See, now that kind of movie, or Men in Black... That movie interests me.
Yeah,
just because I like the fantasy type stuff.
Yeah. So aliens are a fantasy.
Yeah. And
I think we talked about that a couple weeks ago. Aliens.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Oh, and just I know there's a new documentary coming out called "What If the Earth Is Flat."
Oh boy, I bet you can't wait to watch that.
So if the Earth were flat, see, I can entertain that. If the Earth, I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't matter.
Like
right?
I said, I'm on the fence about it.
It doesn't affect me one way or the other if it's round or flat.
Not really.
I mean, if it were flat, it's like you said, you could dig a hole to China on the underside of the Earth.
No, you'd probably just fall into space.
Yeah, just fall through.
Yep.
Well, there would be gravity. I mean, to hold you to the bottom, unless there's nothing on the bottom.
And then there's another rabbit hole that I've seen that gravity is produced by. Man, it's so hard to explain.
It's produced by the mass of an object.
This guy took, like one of those plasma globes.
Okay, like
he put it on this. He put it on this like high-speed thing that spun it, and it basically created its own gravity. It was crazy. I can't remember what the name of the video was, but he was speculating that this might be how the Earth's gravity works.
Well, it is. It's a massive object that is spinning at a high rate of speed.
It's internal. It's internal, like the core of the Earth is what is spinning, not the outside of the Earth.
Well, they say the core of the Earth is moving independently because it's liquid.
Yeah.
It's lava. It's molten.
Well,
it's a creamy center.
Maybe.
Oh gosh, here we go.
I mean,
did I tell you about that?
Has anybody ever been there?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean,
I doubt it.
Jules Verne.
You'd be dead. Yeah.
No, Jules
if
Verne.
It's molten lava, I don't think they make they don't make sunscreen that'll protect you.
Do you remember when they were trying
lava.
to dig a hole? I think it was off the West Coast down to the mantle. Like they were boring, like drilling down there. This was before I was born. This is like when you were in your 30s.
Yeah.
But do you know what I'm talking about? They were trying to bore a hole, and I guess there was some huge controversy, and people thought that like hell would be released, or they would create.
There was something that did happen, but this happened in Russia. It's the deepest hole ever bored.
That's what I'm thinking of. That's kind of the West Coast.
They did. They said they quit boring because they dropped a microphone down there, and they said they said that it sounded like people screaming.
Well, yeah, it's like
torment.
And that's the ocean in a seashell.
And that's what they were saying, that you could hear the people in hell screaming, and that's why they quit drilling.
So why?
Really weird.
Why would hell be in the center of the earth, but heaven is like out there somewhere? Like, why wouldn't hell be like at the bottom of the universe?
I don't know.
And heaven's at the top of the universe.
I don't know.
Do you believe hell is like inside the earth?
No.
Because then that would go to justify your theory of like the people living inside the earth. It's actually just all the damned souls.
Yeah.
It's not giant.
It's I don't really have the
You've never
actual
thought about the
words,
GPS coordinates of hell?
But like the fallen angels were cast into Tartarus, which is the deepest part of hell.
Isn't that a sauce for your
Tartarus.
fish?
No, it's Greek.
Build up on your
It's
teeth
Greek.
if you don't brush well.
but it's supposed to be the deepest part of hell where some of the fallen angels got cast.
Yeah.
Reminds me of this thing we had to read in college called Dantes Inferno.
Did you actually read that?
Yes.
So I bought a copy of it with the full intent to read it, and I read the first 3 pages, and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Dude, it was like, it's hard to read, man.
Yeah, it's very hard to read.
Yeah, it's like, can't somebody just translate this into, like, Tolkien speak? Like J.R.R. Tolkien speak? Like, I don't know, because it's, it's poetry.
It's poetry, yeah.
And it was kind of tough, so I've still got it at home. Never got through it. So, you read the whole thing, though, for class?
Yeah, we had to
Was it
read
cool?
the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, we had to go over it, and we understood it together.
Yeah,
so,
have you read it? Or
No.
you know what it is, right?
I've heard
Dantes
of it.
Inferno,
I
yeah, it
don't-
talks about, like, the different levels of hell, and
Yeah, like what's on each level.
Mhm.
Pretty
it's kind of like
crazy.
Diablo. Did you ever play the original Diablo on PC back in the day?
Mm-mm.
No, you never. Did you ever play it, Heather?
My brother did.
The original Diablo, yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool, and there was all the different levels. It was so sweet. Yeah, I guess since we're talking about hell and religion, I heard this song like 2 days ago by this band called Grandson. Ever heard of them before? But it was really cool, and the song was called Stigmata. Do you know what Stigmata
Yes.
is?
That's when you get the wounds of
of Christ.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you believe that that's a real thing, or do you think? Have you ever thought about that? You're a pretty
Not
religious guy.
really.
No. There's a movie called Stigmata. I remember seeing.
I know.
Possibly.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard of that.
I think I might have seen that movie. It sounds
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah, it's like basically you're like adorned with the wounds of Jesus Christ, like randomly. It's just like you wake up one day and it's like, oh crap, my
Yeah.
hands have been pierced.
Yeah,
I
your
don't know, it's kinda
hands and your
wild.
feet,
Feet
and your
and your
side.
side.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So, I don't know. I guess we should get away from religion. I said we wouldn't talk religion or politics, although we've lately talked
Yeah.
politics.
Yeah.
Well, religion, I mean, that's a broad
Yeah.
definition because religion you can go into.
Well, I like talking religion, but see, some people get so butthurt and offended.
I'm not a religious person. I have my faith. I'm not. I was raised Southern Baptist because my dad was a Southern Baptist preacher. And
Well, if you're not religious, what are you? Like, what do you?
I'm.
You're a believer, right? Is that what you said?
I read the Bible and I try to follow the Bible as most as possible. I don't. Man has made so many like rituals and all this other stuff that are not even in the Bible.
Well, man has edited the Bible too, Bill.
Well, no.
Me and him had this discussion yesterday.
man.
The words that are in the Bible are inspired by God to His prophets.
You're Bill is you're like rustling around in your chair.
No,
over
I'm
here.
trying
Oh.
not to hit
So
this
for those of
chord.
you who have never met Bill before, I'm going to stereotype Bill a little bit. You should
Do
see
it.
Bill. Yeah, it's because you definitely it's the whole stereotype. Like if somebody looked at you, they wouldn't believe you were a Christian probably if they were going to stereotype you, and two, they probably definitely wouldn't believe that you believed in God.
Yeah.
So Bill, I mean, I'm looking at him right now. He's got pretty long hair down to his nipple hair.
I could braid it into my pierced nipple ring.
There's a lot of metal in your head.
Yeah.
I don't know how many piercings are in your face and
I don't
your.
know.
I don't know. He's got 3 down the bridge of his nose. His ears have probably a dozen. What is it? Is your labret pierced?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
And my tongue.
Lots of your tongue's pierced. All right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Been a while since I looked at your tongue, Bill. Yeah, there it is.
Both nipples.
I had my nipples
that's
pierced
it.
until I got fat, and then I took them out because I looked like Ron Jeremy, minus the large penis. Didn't have that part. Anyway, covered. You're tattooed pretty heavily, and it's easy to stereotype you and be like, "Who's this guy?"
Well, you used to describe me the scary guy that works here.
Well, you are scary to kids, man. Kids see you and they're like, "Oh my god."
Run
Somebody
away,
save me.
run away.
So to me, it's always kind of fun that you're as you say you're not religious, but I'm going to call it religious.
You can't.
Spiritual.
I mean, that's kind of what people normally say.
I mean, I classify myself as a spiritual person. I definitely believe in God.
I don't go to church no more.
Yeah, I don't go to
quit
church
going to
either.
church.
It's I believe the church definitely serves a purpose, but book religion kind of stresses me out. And I know you're a big believer of book religion, the Bible and whatnot. I'm not saying I don't believe in it, but how can you say that one religion is right and the other is wrong? Everybody believes their religion is right, and that's the part that stresses me out. It's like, how could this be the one and the rest of them are not the one. But then this other guy says, no, mine's the one. The other guy says, mine's the one. And that's why wars are waged and people are
Oh
killed.
yeah,
And
definitely.
it's like,
I mean, it still happens today.
why can't we just accept the fact that something put us here? I do agree with you. I believe in the Big Bang, looping back around to that. But I do believe that it happened with some sort of divine intervention. I don't think that there was just like this spark and there was nothing to create that.
Right.
So that's where I am. I do believe in evolution, but I believe in evolution at the hand of God. Or goddess.
I don't believe that. I believe in a young Earth, not an old Earth. I don't believe in the millions and millions of years.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, there's
so much proof.
Yeah, there's so much proof.
No, there's not.
There is.
No, it's false proof because they took these known volcanic rocks that they knew from a volcanic eruption, and let's see, one was like 17 years old.
17.
And
okay.
they did that. That supposed, they do that.
The carbon dating.
Carbon dating and stuff like that, and they found out that it was like 3 million years old.
Okay.
And they knew for a fact it was only 17 years. So, false. But see, that's the thing. If you don't look into the creation stuff, you've been indoctrinated through secular schools, and
I could definitely say it's the other way around.
no.
If you believe in the creation or creation stuff, you've been
But
indoctrinated.
that wasn't taught in school. Evolution
It
was
was taught
in
in some
school.
schools. Depends where you went. I mean, if you went to a
Yeah.
Catholic school, you were definitely taught creation.
Exactly.
Yeah, but not
I went to public
everybody.
school.
I went to a Catholic for
most
grade school.
most people
Yeah.
went to public schools.
You went to Catholic school, Heather?
Yeah.
Were you were taught creation, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I went to public school, and back when I went into public school, I think evolution was still taught. I don't know if it's still taught nowadays.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
I seem to remember it being rather controversial when I was going through school.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
But yeah, looking into the creation thing here in the past few years, to me it's overwhelming that things were created.
That things
And like
were
all
created.
these flood, like all these fossils and stuff were basically created through the flood of Noah, and I mean,
Great Flood.
like I said, if I knew he was going to talk about this, I could get more
Sorry,
examples.
man.
but-
No, it's just-
I
that's
would
right,
I
it's
would
the
say
rabbit hole. We're seeing
look
where we end up.
into the creation stuff. There is quite a lot of creation Institute for Creation Research is one of them.
Bill, I admire the fact that you stand by your guns. So
Oh, yeah.
whether or not I
Oh,
agree with
hell
it, or
yeah.
you agree with it, or disagree with it, I think that's cool that you can stand by it. And
Yep.
I think that's what makes our conversations so much fun in here every morning when you come in and yell at me. And, Bill comes in the morning and yells at me, and that's about that. Yeah, we can get away from religion since we've literally spent the last 20 minutes talking about religion and God and creationism. I was just curious what your thoughts were on the Big Bang.
Yeah. No,
So-
I mean, like I said, I was brought up in public schools, and like I said, I was raised. My dad was a Southern Baptist preacher, and he was a World War II vet. So, and I think
Really?
part of that was me getting to a certain age, probably like 18, 19 is pretty much when I started rebelling. And but that's the thing, I never lost my belief. I just kind of like put all that at the back of my mind,
I
and
don't
that's
know that I
why
started rebelling.
I've got all the piercings and all the tattoos. That's why I've done all the drugs in my past, and now I wouldn't change it for nothing, because it was definitely an experience.
That's a
that
double negative, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an experience that I would some of it I wouldn't want to relive, but I'm glad.
Hey,
I
it made
did
you
it.
who you are.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. There's not too much I don't think I would ever change. There's been some rough moments. What about you, Heather? You had some rough moments? Drugs, sex, and rock and roll?
No.
No. It'll happen.
We were good children, me and my brother. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. You guys, you're probably the purest human being that I know. Definitely. Have you ever seen the movie Cocoon?
Yes.
Do you remember those
Yes.
aliens that come out of the eggs in the swimming pool?
Don't they like
Kind of vaguely.
age backwards?
I don't remember.
or
I just
something?
remember when I said
It was the old people that they kept those cocoons in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
I think there was a couple of those movies.
What was that actor's name? Wilford.
I don't.
The last name I want to use isn't his last name, and I'm not going to use it because it's a last name some people might know, but I don't know.
I
He
don't-
has diabetes.
Yeah, he did the diabetes commercials.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
But
I don't remember the names. And
I just remember these like light aliens. They looked like they were made from like pudding.
Yeah.
And they were all like smooth.
Yeah,
and
they were real
shiny
bright.
and bright.
Because they had the cocoons in the swimming pool, and these old people that were in this home went in there and swam.
It made them young, right?
Felt
Yeah.
rejuvenated, and then they started going in there all the time, and it was sucking the life out of the aliens that were in the cocoons, and it was giving it to them. And finally, they basically told them, "Hey, I can't remember. Did they ended up taking them?"
I don't remember how it ended. I was
Yeah.
young.
I actually think the old people actually went to the planet.
Okay,
think.
that's what I
Did
thought.
they? I don't remember.
I
Who
think
comes
so.
up with this shit? Like who? Like how does this happen? How does like some director or producer wake up one day and they're like, I have an idea. It's like Sharknado. I've seen Sharknado. Dude, my kid loved Sharknado for a minute. I'm like, what the hell, Landon?
The a lot of the sci-fi stuff started coming out in the. Well, I mean, there was like really, really old
80s.
sci-fi that came out, before there was sound in movies. Back when I was a kid, and not really.
No, there was sound in me. You had
Yeah.
radio.
Yeah.
No, but I do remember. I would say like the 50s is when a lot of the sci-fi started
Yeah.
coming, like the space stuff, because they had the Roswell thing and then flying saucers and then it kind of got into some books that people wrote like Dracula. Frankenstein, the
Wolfman.
Wolfman.
What was your favorite Dracula movie? So many variations. Maybe not Dracula. What's your favorite vampire movie?
I really liked.
I know yours is probably Twilight.
I really liked.
No. Oh my God! Don't get me
Man,
started
what
on
was the
that.
name of
That's
that?
Bill's favorite. I liked Interview with a Vampire and Bram Stoker's were probably my two
I like
favorites.
Blade.
Blade.
It was-
I haven't seen Blade.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It was the movie where they had the the vampire,
Dracula.
and then had werewolves, and it had the Frankenstein.
Monster Squad.
No.
No, Landon loved Monster Squad.
No, this was.
Are you sure?
Van Helsing.
That's it. Van
Oh.
Helsing. That's my favorite. That's my favorite ones. Because
Stephanie looked up
had
and was
all
like,
the
Monster Squad.
like in the beginning, it started off with he killed Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde,
Okay, I've never seen Van Helsing.
and then
It's
he
a
did.
newer one, I think.
No, that's pretty old.
Well, it depends how you define
they
it.
I think
did,
it's about-
did a remake or whatever. Probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It was really cool, but it had the, it kind of told the story of the werewolves and the
Okay.
I
remember the movie. I just had never seen it.
yeah. I really liked it, and I can't remember who was in it.
Have you ever seen Little Monsters? Howie Mandel plays a monster
yes.
under the bed.
Oh my God, we used to
I don't
love
think I've
watching
seen
that.
that.
Me
And
and
he
my
comes
brother.
out from under the bed, and I forget who played it was the kid from the Wonder Years.
And when
I
the
think.
lights
What was
turn
his
on,
name?
he turns into just clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the little boy would go like under the bed with him down into the monster world, and it
Yeah.
was hilarious.
No, I don't know.
I
Dude, they
remember
don't make
that.
movies like they used to. I put on Drop Dead Fred for my daughter the other day.
Oh my God, I've seen that.
Dude, she wouldn't give it the chance. I was like, Stella, this movie is great, and she wouldn't watch it.
No, it's part of that indoctrinating kids into.
What Drop Dead Fred is indoctrinated?
I
I
never
think?
seen it. I don't know what.
Yeah.
It's
that
about an
is.
imaginary friend.
Yeah,
No.
he was an a-hole too. It was so funny. The dog poop on the carpet. Oh man. So you think movies indoctrinate our kids? Or do you think the
Yeah.
purpose of a movie is to indoctrinate, or indoctrinates like
No,
it's
I think
collateral
it does.
damage?
I think just the whole culture thing does that.
Yeah.
It did it like in the '60s, with the hippie generation, and because like in the '50s, people were even like in the '40s and all that. People were very patriotic. People were very work oriented, family
The
oriented.
rat race.
And then this is another rabbit hole you can go on. It basically, from what I heard, is CIA basically introduced like these psychedelic drugs and stuff into society, and then
Like
they
LSD
promoted
and whatnot. Like
That
the
sounds
CIA
like a good
introduced that?
conspiracy theory.
Yeah. And
Why
they,
would
they
the
tested
CIA
that on.
Oh God,
Well, they got
here
in
we
trouble
go.
for that for testing on people that were in prison, and that's an actual. There was actual court cases about that.
That's interesting.
But that was like in the 60s.
So the CIA puts LSD into the human population, and then the DEA makes it illegal and incarcerates the U.S. population for using the drug that the CIA introduced.
That's another the big.
What would be the point of that, man? These are taxpayers. They're cash
no,
cows.
No. Prisons are
There's money in
privately
prisons.
owned.
Right.
And they get so much money from the government per prisoner.
We should open.
So the more prisoners they have, the more they make.
Sure.
And that's like when.
So is there more to be made off of an inmate than off of a producing member of society?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Look into it. Look into it. See.
I'll Google that.
I don't know how much.
What is more valuable, an inmate or a member of society?
Well, they don't.
There's no research done on that yet.
Well, I'm sure there is, but I would say that the amount of money that they get per individual is more than. It depends on what the person would be doing in society.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's a lot of variables in that.
Well.
No, the big. That's another.
Another rabbit hole.
Oh hell yeah!
Why does it have to be a rabbit hole? Why can't it be like a foxhole or a bear
Because
den?
they try to make it as confusing
or a
as
snake burrow.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Because that's what
possible.
people just like. Oh, this is confusing so much. I'm not even going to think about it. I'm just going to live my life. As long as nothing happens to me, then everything's fine. I don't care what's, live in my little bubble in my own little world where, fairies are riding unicorns that fart rainbows in my precious little world, and just don't pop it with a pin and show me reality.
So you may be asking yourself what all of this has to do with tie-dyed iguana. Not a damn thing. So let's go ahead and wrap this up for today. I don't know what we've achieved other than
nothingness.
Not a damn thing. Yeah. So thank you for joining us. This was episode 14 of Tye-Dyed Iguana's podcast, TDI Live. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, and YouTube. Did I miss one? Maybe.
Did you say Google Play?
Nope, I missed one. I always miss one. And Google Play. So we're out there. Just search for TDI Live. There's also a link on our website, thetdi.com. Otherwise, thank you for joining us. I'm Matt.
And I'm Bill.
And I'm Heather.
And you just listened to Tye-Dyed Iguana's podcast, TDI Live. Thank you for listening to Tye-Dyed Iguana's podcast, TDI Live. And don't forget to visit us on the web at www.thetdi.com.